Simple Car Guy here with another scanner review, and this one is a little special. I have received many comments asking about the Ancel FX9000, and today we will see what makes it special, what kind of features it offers, and whether it's worth the investment. Let's get it out of the box and take a closer look. So the box itself, obviously this is the Ancel FX9000. It does full diagnosis of all systems on pretty much all vehicles, so that's very cool. Master reset capability, all right. Auto VIN, so it's going to detect the vehicle automatically. You don't have to necessarily, specify which model and year and everything else. It will do it for you. It connects to the internet, cool. Diagnostics report, so that's nice. Since it connects to the internet, I'm sure you can probably send it through email and things like that. You can also print it. It has graphic display, of course. You can play the data back, all right. Nothing on this side, nothing on that side. So let's take a closer look at the back here. So this is a professional unit, which makes sense. You know, it's a unit that connects to the network and it can diagnose pretty much anything you can imagine. Some of the parameters here, it's a 7-inch display. That's just the voltage from your car. You can also charge it from a USB cable and can be stored between these temperatures. So, all right, weighs a decent amount, 650 grams. That's like a pound and a half. But let's take it out of the box. All right, so it comes in this nice case. I love these cases. They're super durable and nice to use. All right, so here's what we get inside the case. We get our OBD2 cable, so it plugs in. It's detachable. We also have our charging USB cable. So this is the barrel type, not USB-C or anything like that. You also have your power brick. All right, cool. And of course, we have the quick start guide and the manual itself. So we have the quick start guide, tells you how to set it up. I did set mine up already. You do not need to set up an account, which is nice. I like that. And the user manual, this is all English and written pretty well. So you can definitely find useful information in here if you haven't used one of these before. But we're here for the unit itself, so let's get it out and take a closer look. I'm gonna remove this. Yes. All right, so here's the unit. It's a pretty beefy device. I mean, as you can see, you know, both of my hands, you kind of have to grab it with both hands. Of course, you can use it with one hand, but probably be a little bit easier if you use both. It does have this awesome stand on the back, so you can put it over the steering wheel, or you can just put it on the desk like that and, you know, have it ready to go. I do really like that it has a rubberized casing on it, so if you drop it or anything like that, it's probably going to be a lot more protective. The screen is 7 inches and looks really, really good in person. Of course, it is reflective, but I don't think that's too bad. What else do we have on here? Just a little bit of information on the back, but nothing too crazy. We have a couple of speakers, what looks like. Yeah, looks pretty cool from here. Let's go down to the car, plug it in, and see what we can do with this. Now that we're in the car, let's talk about what makes it special, some of the features, and if it's worth your investment, like I mentioned earlier. To start with, this will read all of your modules on pretty much every vehicle imaginable, so that's a lot of features right there. But it also has 26 or more special functions or special reset functions that I will also talk about in just a little bit. But anyway, as you can see, I have it kind of just resting on my steering wheel, so it's really easy to use. You know, it's touchscreen, so you can just use your fingers and you don't have to, you know, hold it up and things like that. Very cool. You can clearly see that as soon as I connected it to my car, it shows the voltage, so we are at 14.5 volts. It connected to my phone's Wi-Fi, so we can upgrade things and share reports. It is also charging from the OBD2 port, which I find very interesting and useful, so you technically don't even have to plug it in to charge ever after the first time. All right, so the buttons that we have here, we have our navigation, we have the home button and the back button. I have also turned on the screenshot and the back button that's on the screen that you can move anywhere that you want, and I kind of find them useful and I like them, so you can just take a screenshot, and there it is. It has taken a screenshot. So anyway, let's talk about the actual functionality of this device. I will start with the simple stuff just to get it out of the way. Settings. We have our units of measure, so we can go from metric to imperial. Screen capture, that's the icons over there that I turned on. You can also turn on automatic detection on connect, which I don't like. That means when you plug it into the car, it automatically scans it and gives you a report. I like to do my own thing, so I have turned that off. You can change your brightness, sound, volume, and of course you have the Wi-Fi that it's connected to right now. Our time zone, language. Here are the languages in case somebody's interested. All right, so those are the languages. Email, so you can enter your email, which it will then automatically send the reports to, or you can just send it manually if you like. I like manual. You can also recover and clean it up in case you want to sell it. All right, so those are settings. Next, upgrade button. What does this do? Well, it basically upgrades all of the functionality or the apps, whatever you want to call them, on the device. I have mine are fully upgraded. When you first get it, connect it to the Wi-Fi and upgrade everything. It will also download additional applications, everything that has been made available for this device since you have purchased it. It will upgrade it to the latest version, which is amazing. And it's very quick through Wi-Fi. You don't have to do anything else. You just click upgrade and it's done. All right, the next option here is data. So what is data? Well, here you have your diagnostics report. So any report that you run, just like I have here, it will save it and you can get back to it later, or you can actually go to one of these reports and you can share it as well. And you enter the email address, send it over to whoever you like. You can send it to your customers. You can send it to, I don't know, yourself, whatever you like, right? We also have DTC library, so this will allow you to look up different codes based on what you've scanned, but of course it will show you the description for each code as you scan them. We also have the feedback page, firmware fix. This is for very specific scenarios. We don't have to worry about that. And we have the screenshot. So the screenshot that I just took earlier, boom, you have it right there, so we can go back and look back at those. All right, so these are kind of the basic items here at the bottom. Now the actual functionality. The simplest thing that you can do here is actually check the voltage. We can of course see it here at the top, but you can also just have it displayed in a graph. This thing can graph up to 3 different items on the display, which is very useful. And of course, if I give the car a little bit of revs, you can see the voltage going up and down just a little bit. So not a lot, but you can definitely see the difference. All right, now that we're done with the bottom row, let's talk about the top 4. What we have here is diagnose. So this will scan all of the modules on all of the vehicles and show you live data for each individual module, which is very, very important. You're not just limited to, you know, engine modules and things like that. We also have a reset function. So there's like 26 or more that are available. We'll talk about those in just a minute. We also have OBD2. This is standard OBD2 functionality. So we know when you get like a $50-$60 scanner and you can do, it says, you know, it can do live data and everything like that. This is what it does. It can do this. So it will check if your car is ready for emissions and give you a little bit of information. You can click OK. And we have our read IM readiness to see if the car will pass emissions. Read live data. These will be only OBD2 protocol PIDs and not individual module information. That's a very big difference, very important. You can of course read the freeze data. So this, if your car had some kind of emission issue, it will save the data in here so you can check back. We can of course read standard fault codes and clear those, not vehicle specific codes, very big difference, and a few other things, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. You can check any other of my OBD2 scanner reviews and you will see what it does. It does the same thing. Next button here is IM readiness. This will actually do what it just did before, but it will present it much nicer. So as you can see, once it loads, it shows you if there's any codes on the car, if there's engine light, and if there's anything that will not pass emissions when you take it for emission test. All right, so, and you can of course create that report and have that sent to customer or save it on the device itself. All right, so with the easy stuff out of the way, let's talk about the big functionality here. Let's go to diagnose. We're gonna hit auto detect, but before I do that, I want to see what kind of cars it supports. So here you can see all of the vehicle makes that this device supports. If you don't see yours, it probably doesn't support it, or you will only be able to do standard OBD2 functionality. All right, so let's give it a second to scan it. All right, so it was only a couple of seconds. It found my VIN number. I'm gonna click OK, that looks correct. And now it's going to scan the rest of the system. All right, so it's scanning each individual module on my car. And of course it creates the report right away and displays it for you. So if you wanna save it, you know, you can go to each thing in the PDF that you're gonna receive and, you know, check every single item that was scanned. Not very worried about it, but anyway, you can get all of this information simply like that. You can of course share it like I mentioned earlier, so it will pop up with, you know, enter the email and you can share that information as well. Back at the diagnostic screen, we can see all of the modules that have some kind of issues on this car. A lot of them don't, but what we can do from here is not only see the errors, we can go to that individual module. So we can just click right here and it's going to scan the module separately, shows us a lot of the information about the module, so the part number, coding index, last time it was coded, and things like that. We can click continue, and here we have our module specific information. So we can see the read fault code specifically to that module. As you can see, there's some power supply that hasn't been switched off and things like that. Anyway, we can clear those codes. So I'm going to click clear, and it has cleared the code. We can read to try again, and of course there's no more code because it cleared the codes, right? At the bottom here, we can go to read data stream. This is very, very important because this will actually show us information specific to the module. The standard OBD2 functionality will not see this information. So as an example, we can go to, I don't know, outside temperature display, something like that. We can just select all of that, click OK, and there you go. Right away, it's going to show us all of that information. So as an example, see where it says status instrument cluster button? I just pressed the button. You see my hand, right? I'm pressing the button and it shows that it's pressed. So when you are working on something specific and you need to see if a specific sensor or relay or something like that is activating the way you think it should or it's supposed to be doing, you can check that information here. And another cool thing, you can combine, let's say that these two right here, click OK, and we're graphing both of those informations on the same graph. Yeah, they're kind of very similar, so a little bit difficult to see, but you can see the information for up to 3 items on the same graph, I believe. So very, very cool. So to make it clear, you can scan any module, see any live data on that module that's on basically any modern car. And of course, you can read and clear codes and everything else. So right now I can actually clear code. Boom, it's going to clear all of my codes on the car. Of course, some of the issues might remain, but that's not the point. All right, so there you go. We have cleared everything, no more codes. I will drive the car and see if anything comes back. I have been taking it apart, working on that display and other items, so it makes sense. All right, so we're gonna exit the diagnosis screen and go back to the main menu and check out the reset functions. So these are very, very important if you're working on your car or any other car and you're doing stuff that's a little bit more advanced than, you know, just scanning codes and things like that. Here you have over 26 different functions that allow you to just basically do bidirectional functionality, even though this is not a true bidirectional functionality scanner. To start with, you can do air fuel ratio reset. You can do your brake reset. So if you have changed your brakes and things like that, you can use that function to reset the light, change the amount of miles before the next light pops up and things like that. You can do the same for your oil reset, SAS reset, battery reset. That's a huge one. If you change a battery on the BMW and you want to get it reset at the dealer, that's going to cost you $180 just to reset the battery, not including labor or the actual battery, just to register it. So this will register your BMW batteries and things like that. You can also do ABS bleed. So hey, if you're changing the brake fluid, you need this function. You can't do it without it. Especially another item here is an electronic throttle relearn. So if you change the intake manifold or the throttle module, whatever it's called, you will have to relearn it, otherwise it's not going to work. Same thing for TPMS reset. If you have let's say 2 different sets of tires and you want to change, you want to put new winter tires in it and change the TPMS sensors, you can register using this. AC relearn, I haven't used that one before, but obviously that's needed. AD blue, this is I believe for Mercedes. AFS, coolant bleed. Coolant bleed's really cool. What you can do is run the coolant pump without actually starting the car and bleed the coolant without having to risk overheating your engine. Immobilizer, so this is actually a cool one. What this will allow you to do is register new keys. These keys will have to be already programmed to your car by the dealer, but you can register them yourself, save some money there. Another big one is, of course, injectors. Every time you change even one injector, you have to get the little number off of it and register it, especially in these BMWs. If you don't, you will have lien codes and things like that, so very important. You can change the language, I think that's of the actual car. You can change the language on the car. If you import a car or something like that, you can do that. Seat calibrations, very cool. Stop and start reset. Hey, that's a really nice one. If you hate that your car, every time you start the car, it turns it on, you can turn that off and leave it off by default, which is awesome. Sunroof, same thing. A lot of them are electronic now, so if you want your roof to close properly and seal, you may need to run this function to re-register it if you change anything. Of course, there's a couple other ones like tire reset. Windows calibration doesn't sound like something you would need, but I've actually done a video on this. When I got my Z4, the one I'm sitting in right now, window wouldn't close all the way and it would leave about an inch letting water in, which is obviously a big problem. So what I had to do is run one of these, and it basically got the window all the way up, all the way down, and reset it to the correct position, and it's been working perfect since then. Anyway, I'm not going to show these specifically, but if you guys want to see any of these functions performed, leave those comments down below and I will try to make a video about the specific item, because obviously I can spend 10 minutes on each one of these and this video would be 4 hours long if I had to do that. These functions normally cost you a couple of $100s at the dealer for each function, and here for a few $100s you have a device that can do all of those items, right? So we have talked about what makes this special and about the features, but is it worth your investment? Well, what I really like about the scanner is that it's a one-click upgrade. You can scan all systems, all modules on all vehicles, which is crazy. You can also do 26 different reset and special functions, like registering keys and injectors and registering batteries. Very, very important, very useful for sure. Of course, you have your OBD2 functionality, and you also have lifetime free updates for the included OBD2 functionality. However, for like the reset functions, there is a $100 fee per year, which sounds like kind of a lot, but it actually isn't. If you check out some of my other premium devices like this, you will notice that on those devices you have to pay $50 per year per vehicle make. So if you work on BMWs, you pay $50 a year. If you work on VWs, you pay another $50, etc., etc. On this device, it's $100 for all of the functionality per year, and that is it. This device also has a 6,000 milliamp battery life, so that will last you over 8 hours. In case you're running between different vehicles and you just leave it on the table or something like that, you can work on this for a full day without having to recharge, and it will actually recharge from the OBD2 as you're using it. You also don't need to create an account. I don't really like devices that make me create an account for no reason. I like that about this as well. But back to the question, is it worth the investment? Well, that's completely up to you. This does run a little over $400. At the moment, there's a $50 coupon, but you can expect to pay between $400 and $450 for this. And with all of the functionality that's packed into this, I think it's definitely worth it if you are working on multiple vehicles at the time. So if you have a shop and you have a lot of customers with different vehicles, this will do you great. If you have 1 or 2 cars at home, it may not be worth the investment. I would probably then look into let's say BMW or a Mercedes specific scanner that will have similar functionality for probably half the price. You will probably have to buy 1 or 2 or 3 of those, but that's completely up to you. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments, leave those down below. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more scanner reviews, vehicle reviews, or just automotive content. And I'll see you in the next one.